Enigma Project.
Our own planet is only a tiny part of the vast cosmic tapestry, a starry fabric of worlds yet untold.
For the next 90 minutes, your mind shall become engaged with minds that are very much like your own. Join Paul Cagle, Sushi and Spring Wolf as they discuss various topics and people that we all have questions about. You're taking part in the Enigma Project.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Enigma Project. My name is Paul Cagle and tonight we will be participating in our April Freeform show and playing Truth or Tale. But first I would like to introduce my cohorts in this madness, Spring Wolf.
Hello.
And Sushi.
Hey everybody.
How are you guys doing?
Okie doke.
Recovering from my trip. It was
Nice.
awesome. Yeah, we saw the foam hinge, saw the natural bridge, and drove home. So it was fun. It's fun to get out away from the kids and with a girlfriend, away from the husband.
How long did it take you to drive out there and back?
It was about a 6-hour drive one way.
Wow.
So I was lucky enough not to drive. My girlfriend has a new to her car.
I was going to say, so it wasn't like going to Louisiana. 13
No,
hours there,
nothing.
record a
like
show,
it.
sleep, 13 hours back.
Mm-hmm.
Dear God in heaven, I've never been so tired and wanting out of a car so bad in my life
I hear you.
as I did that night. And we'll talk more about that once that episode airs. But yeah, that was a very interesting trip. But
Yes.
so you guys had fun?
Yeah, we had a ball. You can see pictures on my Facebook. Sushi Coon. Search for Sushi Coon. It's open. I have nothing to hide.
Yeah, that's the way mine
anybody
is.
Can see.
That's the way mine
Anybody
is.
can see me.
I keep mine open, even though I am a celebrity. You're welcome. I keep all my... I'm just kidding. But before we get this madness started, I want to remind everyone to check out our blog at enigmaproject.com. You can see shows that we have coming up there. You can subscribe to the new calendar that we have that has our shows and topics and all of that. And you can keep up with us there. You can also send us questions or comments from there, or you can send us questions or comments to Paul at enigmaproject.com or call the hotline at 423-521-2930. And don't forget to check out Spring's blog at springwolf.net. And please help spread the word at gunpoint if necessary, but don't tell them I said that when you go to court over it. So, yeah. The one thing I did forget to put on here is last week's show and next week's show. So, what was last week's show about?
Animals.
Yeah, animals possessing people. Yeah.
Animal possessions, yeah.
Yes, animals possessing people. And then next week's show is, does anybody remember off the top of their head?
8
Nope.
secret societies in history you've probably never heard of.
That's it. All right, so good job. I was testing you guys to see if you knew what any of that stuff was.
I was reading it from the webpage at enigmaproject.com/listen-live.
Which is
where the
There
chat
you go.
room is.
Which is where you can go for our chat room and join us in this madness. Thank
And
you,
you can
Sushi.
see all of our upcoming shows.
That is correct. All of them. Yeah. I'm trying to get to the website and update something because I have to do this every freaking time for the show. But anyway, so check all that out and send us questions or comments and come into the chat room because we always have a lot of fun. If you are not familiar with our Freeform show, it's basically where it's kind of like a listener answer show. We answer any questions from listeners. Yes, Lord? We answer listener questions or comments or whatever. And if we don't have any, then we talk about whatever we want to. And we do talk about whatever we want to sometimes. And and it can be quite entertaining and amusing. So there you go. Everybody who's listening live right now, are we all the same level? because I got a new mixer and a new microphone, and I'm testing it out. So if the sound is off, please let me know, because we can't hear the show and we don't know. All I can look at are the levels. If the levels are the same, then to me, everything's hunky-dory. But then I hear a week from now, oh, you sounded like you were in a toilet. It was echoing and blah, 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 blah. It says, no, you're like level 25, and Sushi's easily level 40.
We know.
Yeah, we know. Thanks, Jimmy, you bastard.
We
Anyway,
tried to fix it.
Right. No, I think he's talking about just levels, not sound, maybe. But if the sound is off, please let me know. If you guys don't, I promise I will punish you later. So, yeah. Okay, so the Freeform show, I know that last time I had a topic, and it pretty much dominated the whole thing, and I didn't mean to do that. But you guys had some topics that you wanted to talk about on the Freeform show, so I don't know. Which one of you wants to start first?
I got to go find mine, so Spring, you can start.
I don't remember what I was going to talk about either.
There
Put
was
one
a
on
new
your
sighting
website.
of Sasquatches. And I have to see. Now I have to go find it.
I have
Well,
the
you
one.
go find it, because we did have 2 questions.
That's what I was saying.
Okay.
Ask us the questions.
Okay. Well, we had I got a private message on Facebook. Somebody that didn't want people to know that they were asking the question. I don't know why.
Was it Jenny? Was it Jenny
Yeah,
that asked?
it's okay. We'll just say Anonymous asked. Anonymous asked, is the paranormal a religious belief?
And you know what? I was thinking about this earlier. I think that is a great question. I do not personally think that the paranormal is a religious belief, but I do believe that your religious beliefs can play into aspects of it.
I think your religious beliefs skew your understanding of the paranormal.
It can, or it can help you understand it more. I mean,
Well, yeah, I don't mean skew as in it's good or bad. I mean, what you believe in on a spiritual level can define what paranormal means to you. You know, like for
Right.
instance, there are some people who their religious belief includes demons. So when they're doing stuff or looking at stuff on the paranormal, demons are something that exists for them. Whereas my spiritual belief, we don't believe in demons, not in that way.
right.
So when people talk about being possessed by a demon or that there's a demon haunting their house, that doesn't resonate with me on a paranormal level.
Right. Sushi?
Yeah, I think religion plays a little bit into it, but I don't know. I think you are predisposed when you go in by your upbringing, by your religious upbringing. When something paranormal happens, and you turn, when you have a paranormal experience, a lot of people explain it through their own world vision. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like a Hindi would explain it. Well, that's Krishna talking to me, or others. A Christian might say, "Oh my gosh, it's a demon." So I think your religion plays a lot into how you react to the paranormal.
Well, I think that your experiences as a whole, regardless of religion or anything, your societal experiences and your professional experiences and everything else will play into it as well. It's not just religion. If you are, I don't know, well, I was going to use an analogy, but it would probably offend some people, so I'm not going to do that. But I do agree that I think that your religion can play into it, your understanding of it. But when we go into the paranormal to investigate, we try to be scientific about it. Now, we did a show on the why on the Subs Paranormal podcast, why the paranormal cannot scientifically be explained. If you want to listen to that show, it's at sepsparanormal.org, or you can find it on iTunes under the Seps Paranormal podcast. And it's the, fringe science of the paranormal or something like that. I can't remember what we called it, but it's it can't scientifically be proven because you can't replicate your data in a lab or in a controlled setting. So, but we try to be as scientifically as possible, relying on the equipment versus our feelings or experiences. You know, if we walk into a house and something grabs me and slams me into the wall and I see a ghost and whatever, then I would say, yes, it's paranormally active, even though we didn't catch it on camera, because something like that you really can't fake. You know, you can't. I don't think I could make myself see that accidentally or get hyped up and see it, especially if there are multiple people. But if I see something out of the corner of my eye, or I smell something unusual or something like that, then unless I have something to back it up, like I see something out of the corner of my eye and the camera catches it exactly where I thought I saw it, then I might use that as evidence. But as far as just like a little experience, we don't consider that to be a haunting when we talk to the client. But as far as like my religion, I try to keep it out of it. I try to keep it completely rational and scientifically as based as scientifically as possible when I do an investigation. Anybody else?
I was thinking, I wonder what an atheist would say. I mean, a true atheist, not somebody that's on the fence. A true atheist that doesn't believe in ghosts and spirits in the first place.
Well,
I wonder what they would say, because I don't think they believe in the paranormal to begin with.
I think that's an assumption, though, because just because they don't believe in God, that doesn't mean they don't believe we have some sort of energy inside of us, a soul or a spirit or something like that. Now, Sushi, you're as close to an atheist as
anybody you've ever met.
As
right?
anybody I've ever met.
I don't agree. I don't agree with the definition. If you believe in energy that could be a physical energy that's in a body that still lives when the physical body dies, I would call you agnostic, not atheist.
Yeah, I do. I think I fall in more in the agnostic category than flat out atheist.
Okay, but here's the definition of atheist: a person who disbelieves or lacks belief in the existence of God or gods. It doesn't say that they lack belief in energy or a soul or anything else. It just says they lack belief in the existence of God or gods. Now,
look up agnostic.
Yeah, agnostic is, I think, someone who believes in gods or gods, they just don't care.
I think an agnostic believes in a spiritual something, but they don't give it a label.
Yeah, we don't know. That's the.
Well, then I'm agnostic, but a person who believes that knowing, I can't read. A person who believes that nothing is known or can be known of the existence or nature of God or of anything beyond material phenomena. A person who claims, a person who claims neither faith nor disbelief in God. Now, I do believe in God. It's just I don't believe that God is what everyone thinks it is. But just because someone's an atheist doesn't 100% mean that they don't believe in ghosts or spirits or energy. It just, to me, an atheist just does not believe in God, and it stops there. Now, what they believe after that, I guess, depends on the person.
Yeah, I was going to say they can. I've met all kinds of atheists. I mean, people that throw themselves in the atheist category. You know, you got the humanists, you got the agnostics, and they'll call themselves atheists as well. So it's such a general term nowadays. And if you ask my husband, he'll say an atheist is one who doesn't believe in the God of the state. Like the early Christians were considered atheists because they didn't believe in the Roman gods. So
see, when I think of an atheist, I think of Bill Maher. I think of the scientists that rely on science, not anything external from that. They only believe in what science can prove.
Do atheists believe in ghosts? You know the internet has all the answers.
Always.
Sure, atheists can believe in anything they want to, with the single exception that if they believe in God or gods, they're not atheists. If by spirits you mean some sort of supernatural entities, then it's highly unlikely, but not impossible, that an atheist would believe in them.
Interesting.
And Jimmy in the chat room asked, could we define energy? In physics,
Jimmy, there is my problem.
in physics, energy is a property of objects which can be transferred to other objects or converted into different forms. The ability of a system to perform work is a common description, but it is difficult to give one single comprehensive definition of energy because of its many forms. That's as close as you're getting.
Yeah, my it's not really a definition of what energy is, but from a scientific point of view, energy has certain characteristics, and if whatever it is doesn't have those characteristics, then it's not classified as energy. So it has movement, it has a vibration or a sound. So movement would be movement or a speed. You can pick that up on scientific instruments. It has sound or a vibration. You can call it either one, and it often has a color.
Well,
so if you think about a flame, the flame of a candle has three different colors to it. When you listen to a flame, a lot of people would say if you listen to a fire, you can actually hear the flame, and it's kind of like a hum. You can hear it, and the hotter it burns, the faster the sound is.
Well,
or the higher pitch.
In the chat room, he said exactly that makes it a pretty useless term for discussions about specifics when I was talking about what energy is, the definition before. Everyone has their own term for what they believe, or their own ideas about what they believe spiritual energy is. So for me to sit here and try to define it would be useless, because one person out of the 5 listening would probably agree with me, maybe. Mm-hmm. So energy, you kind of have to have your own definition for what you believe spiritual energy is, whether you believe in it or not. Okay, let me start that again, because the way I said that was weird. But whether you believe in energy or not, if you do believe in it, spiritual energy, then you have your own definition or a vague understanding of what you believe it is. He said, you'll never reach consensus on any idea if you can't establish objective terms for the topic. Well, here's the thing about this show, Jimmy. We're not trying to reach a consensus. We are giving you information so that you can decide for yourself. If you agree with me, that's great. If you don't, that's great. If you agree with Spring, that's great. If you don't, that's great. If you agree with Sushi, well, nobody agrees with Sushi, so let's not even talk crazy.
That's okay. I'm used to
honestly, here's what I want this show to be, and I've always wanted it to be. I want this show to be about our opinions, and then you listen and you decide if you agree or disagree, and you go out and study for yourself, and then you form your own opinion. You should not be listening to this show and taking our word as gospel, because honestly, we do not have the answers. The only thing we can tell you is what our experiences are, what we believe them, how we interpreted them based on our understandings, our experiences, our backgrounds, etc., etc. But yours may be different, and that's okay. Tater raised his hand and said, meh.
According to the Encyclopedia Britannica, energy in physics is the capacity for doing work. It may exist in potential, kinetic, thermal, electric, electrical, chemical, nuclear, and here's the problem with the definition, or other various forms. So, you can put just about anything in that category of other various forms.
Evil said meh equals amen for atheists.
That's great.
That's a very laid back passive-aggressive way to say meh. Amen. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
I said meh, brothers and sisters.
Said meh. Anyway. All right. Did you have another question?
Yes, we had a second question. It's kind of a little bit more paranormal than spiritual. One of our friends of the show, Miranda Anthony.
Hi, Miranda. We love you.
Hi, Miranda. She wants to know what makes a place haunted. I mean, two
ghost.
houses side by side both have a moment in history where someone dies inside, but one becomes haunted and the other doesn't. Why?
That is a very good question. Did anybody else have any questions? Miranda, honestly, that is one of the things that as paranormal investigators we are trying to answer because we don't know. Jimmy said nobody knows. We don't. And that's one of the reasons why I got into the paranormal was because I wanted to know when two people pass away, why does one become a ghost and one doesn't? Some people believe that it's unfinished business, that if person A dies in house A and they've lived a full, complete life and they have nothing left to do, that they feel unfinished, that they will move on. If person B dies in house B and they're right beside each other and person B felt unfulfilled in their life because they wanted to be a singer or they wanted to be an actor or have their own paranormal TV show or something, then that person might hang around because they feel like they have unfinished business. Now, again...
Paul, that's how you can get your show. When you die, you just become a ghost.
Too much work.
And you'll be on TV.
Too much work. And again, this is my opinion on this, but... And I'm telling you what other people I've talked about with other people and other investigators. So that's one reason why people believe that ghosts happen. That's in air quotes. Evolution, biatch, meh. I love meh as amen. I love it.
I don't think it's the place. I don't think it's the location.
I just want to say one thing real quick before. The other version of that is people believe, some investigators believe, and some people out there believe that if you die suddenly and you're not aware that you've passed on, then you don't go into the light or to whatever lies beyond because you aren't even aware that you're dead. You aren't thinking with your physical brain, and you aren't rooted in physicality the way you would be if you were still alive, and so you're confused and lost, and that's another reason why people believe. Okay, that's just what I want to say.
Okay. I don't think it's the physical location. So if house A and house B are right next to each other, I don't think it matters. I think it's more of who the individual is. I believe there's a difference between a spirit and a ghost. A ghost is stuck here on the earthly plane, and a spirit is not. And there could be a whole lot of reasons why when a person dies, they become a ghost. The two explanations that you gave are two that I would believe in. But then there's also the one where somebody dies and they don't want to be dead. They were having a great lifetime, or they were murdered and they're pissed about how they were killed and they want to hang around and, make things right or get back at whoever it was that murdered them,
right.
Stuff like that.
Unfinished business.
Yeah, unfinished business.
Sushi?
Yeah, I guess just because of my experience as a paranormal investigator, my answer is exactly the same as Paul's. I was saying as you were talking, Paul was going, "Yep, that's what I was. Yep, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah."
And honestly, we don't know. There's a theory that I personally have that I believe that the energy of the Earth, the electromagnetic field, acts as some sort of buffer to capture our spiritual energy when we die and our soul leaves our body. It sort of either records or it, I don't want to say entraps, but that could be used as well, that it absorbs our spiritual energy and holds it here like a computer. like recording a VCR or something like that. I'm sorry, VCR or something like that. I believe it has something to do with the electromagnetic field of the Earth. And we did a whole show on why there are no ghosts of cavemen and dinosaurs. And that was part of my theory, was that every 100,000 years or so, the poles of the North Pole and the South Pole shift and switch positions. And when it does, I believe it wipes clean the electromagnetic energy of the Earth, or all the spirits that are trapped here, and allows them to be released to whatever is beyond. And it's supposed to happen, I think, every 100,000 years or so. And I think we're like 200 and something thousand years into it without a shift. So they're saying, could happen at any time. But I don't know. It's just a theory. I think that maybe if the energy is at a certain level and you pass away, and that level allows you to kind of be buffered by it, and to be, I don't want to say trapped, but like being downloaded onto a hard drive, that you remain here. But again, that's just a theory.
Jimmy in the chat room said, you guys talk about explicitly believing in this or that, but nobody really knows what's going on. Doesn't that make your claims a bit arbitrary? See, here's my issue with disbelief. When you research and study and you decide what it is you quote unquote believe on a spiritual level, that becomes real for you. When you add to that experiences that explain what it is that you believe, or validate, verify, whatever words you want to use, what it is you believe, it's not arbitrary anymore. I see ghosts. I hear them. I talk to them. That's not arbitrary to me. That's real. That's something that, for me, I know what it is. There's no doubt about it in my mind, because it's an experience that I have had since I was a kid. I think that physical experience is what validates belief and makes it true for that individual person. Now, I can't say that what I believe is the one and the only answer, because I don't think that's true. I think there's room for multiple answers, including what it is that an atheist would believe. I'm not saying that my belief is the one and only. It's just what's true for me.
Jimmy, my beliefs are completely arbitrary. Just depending on my mood.
Winch.
Okay, so Jimmy says, since these things by definition are not verifiable scientifically, any conclusions about their nature are pure speculation, are they not? I'm not saying these things aren't real, but I'm curious about people making specific claims. Okay. Our specific claims are our experiences and our opinions. Whether or not they're scientifically true is a whole nother story, because honestly, we don't know. I've had a lot of paranormal experiences, and we've actually, Jimmy and I have sat down and talked about this with our friend Bruce, where Bruce does not believe in the paranormal because he's never had an experience. And Jimmy's, response was kind of like mine. You can't be arrogant enough to believe that just because you haven't had an experience that that the paranormal doesn't exist, and that's what I'm trying to get away from on this show. Is just because I've never experienced a demon doesn't mean they aren't real. I've just never experienced one. Personally, I don't necessarily believe in them for that reason. And because I believe that a lot of demons can be explained away as mental issues or drug problems or emotional issues or something like that.
I think there's a lot of things that cannot be verified scientifically that we all would believe is true. You can't verify scientifically what love is, but you can't deny that it doesn't exist.
I deny it doesn't exist. But anyway, it's neither here nor there.
My other problem with the scientific thing is that it assumes that science knows everything, and that is so far from the truth.
I think any scientist worth his salt will tell you we don't know everything.
Exactly. So, right here in the here and now, we can't verify something scientifically, maybe only because somebody hasn't invented the scientific instrument that can verify.
I agree with that 100%.
If you think about in the last 15, 20 years, science has verified that energy exists, that it doesn't die. It simply fades, changes form, and comes back. 100 years ago, they couldn't do that. So 100 years ago, would you say that energy doesn't exist?
Yes.
And that it can't be verified?
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
No.
So what is it that you believe today that you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that 100 years from now somebody's going to find out is the total opposite?
Well, it's like, gravity. No one knows gravity exists. You can't scientific... Oh, wait. Never mind. I'm just kidding. But, a lot of what we talk about on the show is our personal experiences and our personal beliefs. It doesn't make us right or wrong. You have to decide for yourself whether or not you agree or disagree. But I don't think you should say, I disagree with Spring Wolf. Why? Because I do. That's a cop-out, and it's stupid for someone to do that. If you say it just doesn't feel right to me, or I'm not sure why I don't believe it, but I'm going to research it, then, you should always research anything we say on this show. Anything we say, if you feel like it is untrue, or even if you're interested, whatever, you should research it. Don't take our word for it, because I have been wrong a lot. I know you find it hard to believe. I know our 4 listeners are just aghast right now with shock and clutching the pearls. But, he says, I'm not arguing that these things aren't true. I'm taking issue with people saying this is the real reason why I saw a ghost. I lost it because somebody responded. The real reason I saw a ghost was mauled by a chupacabra, etc., making claims about the reasons for X when you have no conclusive data to back up the claim offends my inner scientist. And that's fine, Jimmy. But I can tell you something exists, the paranormal. Jimmy said, stop lying, Paul. You are never wrong. I would like that in writing. Somebody take a picture of that. Because he has never said that ever in the whole 20-something years I've known him, and he never will again.
See, my problem with that approach is that it degrades or discards, whatever the right word is, experience. Just because you didn't have the experience of seeing gasoline catch on fire doesn't mean that gasoline doesn't catch on fire. Whereas just because you didn't see a ghost doesn't mean that a ghost can't exist for me.
Right.
Because that was my experience.
Right. My thing is this. If people disagree with me, that's fine. If they want to disagree vehemently and in person, that's their problem, not mine, because I'm not going to play. I know I've had paranormal experiences. I know I got thrown across the room by something. I'm not saying it was necessarily a ghost, but it's something happened, and I don't know what. He says, nobody's denying the experience. I'm taking issue with the claims of understanding or cause/effect, basically when there's no proof and there's no evidence of what the cause-effect was.
Well, that's where, research and study comes into play. I mean, that's true with anything. You don't just have to be talking about the paranormal. You can talk about anything.
Do we have any other questions, or because there's something?
I didn't have any others.
I've got something I want to talk about, and
well, did Sushi find what she went looking for?
No, I didn't. I can't find the newest video, and then I got in the conversation and I stopped looking. I gave up.
Good questions, though. We've had some good conversation on this show. Okay, so I came across this article that said the Devil's Hour. The real reason you feel spooked at 3 a.m. revealed. Now, I had to read this because I've been fascinated by this for a while. And it was kind of the crap that I expected it to be. I shouldn't say that, but so there's a thing that I do sometimes where I wake up around 3 a.m. It's usually 3:15, 3:16, and I have a horrible, weird feeling And it used to happen when a friend of ours, mine and Jimmy's, was still alive, and he was out doing stuff he wasn't supposed to be doing. I would wake up and freak out and know he was somewhere dangerous. So anyway, I've done it other than that, but this is saying, I'm gonna read a little bit about this, but it says, picture the scene. You wake up from an uneasy sleep, drenched in sweat, heart pounding, guts churning, gasping for breath, with one foot in the world of nightmares and the other tangled in a suffocating duvet. You look at the clock. It reads 3 a.m. You feel spooked, like something terrible is going to happen, but have no idea why. All you know is your mind races and you nervously eye shadows is there'll be no sleep for you tonight. Da, 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 da. Anyway, so it's saying, according to the myths of ages, the devil's hour is very real, and when we wake up at 3 a.m. with a fretful stirring in our soul, it's because an evil as old as the hills is deliberately taunting us and mocking the death of Jesus Christ, who, according to ancient manuscripts, died in the middle of the afternoon at 3 p.m.
What does that got to do with 3 a.m.?
It's the exact opposite, so therefore it is mocking the Trinity. It's mocking Jesus, like hanging a cross upside down, or perverting the the Holy Mass with the black mass. It's basically
yawn.
Yeah, it's basically saying that the exact opposite of anything religious is sacrilege.
It's of the devil,
right? So that's what this is saying. Now,
yeah, because I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning every night because I have to pee. I'm sorry, but it's got nothing to do.
The devil,
because you have your big drink at dinner.
The devil sat on her bladder. Can I get a meh?
When you get old like me, you got to go pee a lot during the nighttime.
No.
That's about all there is to it.
It's because the devil sat on your bladder. Can I get a meh? No mess for that? Okay. So anyway, they're saying that, and I had heard this before, but it was from a woman whose son was a script writer, and I thought that's what he had come up with for his script to explain it away, and I thought, that's interesting. But no, there are people who believe this. Now, so according to texts, they have discovered that it was 3 p.m. They can't even get Jesus' name right. According to the same texts, Jesus' name is not Jesus. It's Yeshua. Yet, not one Bible I've seen out there says Yeshua. It says Jesus, or even Jehovah. God's name is not God. It was the Elohim, which means Lords, plural, of light. Of course, we did have a big discussion about that depending on the context, it can mean singular as well. But it's also Elohim, and it was Yahweh, and it's a tetragrammaton, which was supposed to be, the creation. So you can't even get those things right in the Bible, yet you want me to believe that you've narrowed down Jesus Christ's death to 3 p.m.? The tetragrammaton.
They screwed up when he was born. How are they supposed to know when he died?
Exactly. He was born when the ewes were milking, giving milk to their young. That's not December 25th.
Not December.
I promise. I promise it's not. So they can't even get that right. Yet, they believe that 3 p.m. This gives me a headache because, and this is one of the things that, like Jimmy was talking about, people having a belief without anything backing it up. And it gives me a freaking headache. I agree with him there, which is very rare because Jimmy and I rarely agree because he's usually wrong. But anyway, don't tell him I said that. But, so there's all of this. Now, it does go on to say that, there's a little bit more to it, but it says it can't be denied that most of us have woken up at 3 a.m. to a world where delirium and devils hold sway, but isn't there a more scientific reason for our agitated state of wakefulness? Apparently so. After several hours of deep slumber, our bodies may enter a lighter sleep at about 3 a.m., ensuring we are more easily roused from our restful reverie by the drip of a tap, the prowl of a cat, the roar of an engine, or a flatulent pillow companion. That's my favorite. Additionally, it's been programmed into our DNA to raise our weary heads when the moon sinks and the sun rises, and 3 a.m. is typically the time when night peaks and daytime is preparing to enter the stage. Whatever the reason behind the devil's hour, be it demons, indigestion, the nagging feeling that you've left the car door unlocked, or hardcore amphetamine addiction, that's funny. There can be no denying that either way you slice it and dice it, 3, as they say, is the magic number. Now, turn the light off and go to bed. So I
thought the devil's hour was midnight. Witch's hour.
That's the witching hour. There is this big theory out there. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. There's this big theory out there that 3 a.m. is the devil's hour, and it came from. It's called Dead Time on Ghost Adventures.
Paranormal State.
Was it Paranormal State? Oh, yeah, you're right.
Paranormal State had Dead Time.
I'm sorry, you're right. It is Paranormal State. They came up with Dead Time, and that's the first time I had heard it. And I thought it was kind of ridiculous that, they were saying that's the devil's hour because of this, and, Satan, exact opposite, and mocking the Trinity and Jesus and all that. Never bought that crap.
Yeah, that sounds like BS
really,
to me.
Jimmy? Really? That is Chattacon, or Conuga one, because I can see the room in the back. He put a picture of me in the chat room.
I wanted to see your angry face.
To dibble? To devil. So anyway, this whole idea of Dead Time, as far as I know, started there. That's the first time I'd heard about it. And a lot of paranormal investigators have bought into it. Now, we have stuck around till 3 a.m. on purpose to kind of feel the energy out to see what it is, but I've never seen a significant rise in paranormal activity at 3 a.m. as opposed to any other time. Now, my theory on why 3 a.m. is a good time to investigate is because it's one of the quietest times of the night. People have gone to bed, people are asleep, they've been asleep several hours. Right around 3 o'clock, everything's kind of settled down. It's quiet. The night is quiet. So anything that happens in a dark room is going to get your attention because there's nothing else to distract you or to make you think it's something it's not. If you're at home and you hear something in the other room, you hear somebody talking, you think, oh, it's one of my kids, it's my husband, it's my wife. It's the radio, it's the television, it's a computer, it's the neighbors outside, the windows open. You can justify it away by anything, pretty much. At 3 a.m. in the morning, you hear something in the other room, somebody talking. You know that's not supposed to be going on, so it's going to freak you out and scare you, and it's going to make you, get up and go see what's going on. Jimmy says, I think every single paranormal investigator should have to take a college-level statistics course before they are allowed to take that title. Jimmy, why? Why?
See, now, I would agree with him there. I don't think, anybody can hang a shingle at the door and take a title. It doesn't mean they're qualified to own it.
Right. But honestly, there are no true paranormal professionals because there's
no governing body.
There's no governing body. There's no list of things you need to know or not know or believe or not believe or anything else. I could call myself a paranormal investigator. I am. I investigate the paranormal. That's like saying, I'm a book reader because I read books. It doesn't make me a professional. It doesn't make me somebody who's better at everything than someone else. It just means that this is what I do. And we need a title so that when I say paranormal investigator, we're all on the same page without me going, oh, well, I go out in the dark with cameras and I hunt for ghosties and then I try to capture it and then I try to do this and I try to do that. Jimmy, parapsychology and paranormal investigation are two completely different things.
Yeah.
And the University of Edinburgh does offer a degree in parapsychology, but pretty much no one recognizes it for anything except for unless you're doing studies and stuff like that, and some people still don't. But parapsychology and paranormal investigating are two completely different things. Because a parapsychologist studies the paranormal, like ghosts and ESPN, and seriously, nobody's going to call me on that. But Jimmy said, "I'm a baiter. I fish a lot." That's not what he's talking about when he calls himself a baiter. He's a master at it. That's all I'm going to say. But
my friend Mary Marshall, who has a doctorate, teaches. She's an instructor of paranormal studies at Harper College here in the United States.
That's cool.
Yeah. So you can find them, but that doesn't necessarily mean there's what's the word?
Accredited.
Yes, an accredited degree.
Right.
Of course, I have a problem with the word accredited anyway.
Yeah, I know.
Accredited simply means you follow certain basic study criteria that allows you to get federal funding from taxes. That's what accredited means.
Right. But the point is that there are no real professional paranormal professionals out there. There are people who, like for instance, I've been doing this since 2006. Maybe I always get the year wrong. Maybe 2007. I don't remember. Anyway, and I've written a book on the paranormal. Does that make me a professional? No, it doesn't. It means that I have experiences in the paranormal that other people might not have. There may be people who have never gone ghost hunting a day in their life that have more paranormal experiences than I do because they live in a haunted house or can see and talk to ghosts and spirits or whatever, So there are no real paranormal professionals out there. And you can argue that if you want, but you would have to define what a paranormal professional is and prove why they are a professional if you want to argue it. So
yep,
just be prepared for me to ask those questions.
Just because you have a TV show doesn't mean you're qualified to say you're a paranormal this or that expert.
Right. Unless I do, and then I am. And then I'm right and you're wrong, so don't argue. No. But yeah. Talk about tabs. So anyway, final thoughts on this before we move on to Truth or Tale.
I think it's stupid.
What?
The 3 a.m.
The
thing.
3 o'clock dead hour.
The 3 o'clock dead hour. Thank you. We have bounced all around.
We really have.
Accredited colleges? What?
No.
Yeah. So yeah, it's BS.
Yeah. I just think it has a lot to do with it's the quiet of the night. Most people are asleep. It's when you are at your senses are at the most heightened because you're trying to, if you're up, you're trying to walk and not wake everybody up in the house. You're talking quietly. You're more aware of your surroundings, and you're more aware of what happens. And I think that's it. So
interestingly enough, that topic goes back to our very first question: is the paranormal religious?
Right. Yeah. All right. So, Truth or Tale.
Yay.
If you're not familiar with this game, it's basically where I have 3 stories I'm going to read, and you have to decide if they're crazy enough to be true or just so stupid that I made it up. And honestly, sometimes you can't tell the difference because I am that good. No. Because there's a lot of stupid crap out there. So, number 1, a new death simulator ride in China allows you to get into a coffin, then wheels you into a mock cremation chamber, subjects you to blasts of heat and a light show to simulate fire, and then forces you to crawl through a tunnel to represent rebirth. Truth or Tale? That's a long one.
Who would pay for that? I'm sorry.
A new death simulator ride in China allows you to get into a coffin, then wheels you into a mock cremation chamber, subjects you to blasts of heat and a light show to simulate fire, and then forces you to crawl through a tunnel to represent rebirth. Truth or Tale?
I'm going to go true because you said China.
Yeah, I'm going to go with sushi.
You know,
The room is saying true so far.
you
Yeah,
know them
chat
they're
room's going true.
Chinese. All right. That is the truth.
Ew, who would pay for that?
Yeah, really.
People
So,
in China.
Theme park offers virtual cremation ride. The Window of the World amusement park in Shenzhen, China, has set up a rather unusual attraction. Visitors looking to experience what it is like to be cremated can now choose to participate in the park's Death Simulator, a bizarre ride devised by two Chinese philanthropists. Those who take part are placed inside a coffin and wheeled into a mock-up cremation chamber where they are subjected to blasts of heat and light, show designated simulated fire. Once this is over, the image of a womb is projected onto the ceiling, and the participants must crawl through a tunnel until they emerge outside, a representation of being reborn. The bizarre attraction was funded by China's answer to the crowdfunding website Kickstarter. It at least gives you the chance to calm down and brings you back to earth to think about some of life's problems, said one visitor. When you walk through the door, you will experience some changes in your mentality, and it will be different from what it was before you entered. I think it's really great and very worthwhile. Sorry, I can't read because my eyes move faster than my mouth. I can physically read faster than I can speak.
On the article that I found said the ride costs about $40.
Yeah.
$40.
Jenny in the chat room said there's a coffin ride at the Chester County Fair.
Chester
Yes,
County
I speak
Fair.
English. There's a coffin ride at the Chester County Fair, which is just south of Richmond in Virginia.
Wow.
Wow.
I know. That's all I can say is wow.
Seriously, wow.
All right, so number 2.
Give me a roller coaster, man. That's that. I'll just do that. Thanks.
Yeah.
Y'all go
I
get in
love
your
roller
coffins and
coasters.
burn.
All right. So number 2, men with large feet, oversized 12 American, are 26% more likely to have a paranormal experience. Truth or tale? Men with large feet, oversized 12 American, are 26% more likely to have a paranormal experience. Truth or tale?
I'd say that one's a kind of a tale.
I think you made that one up.
Did I?
What size are your feet, Paul?
10 and a half, 11, something like that. All right, so you're both saying tail?
I'm going tail.
Wow. Aren't you going to feel... Okay, that is a tail. I completely made it up. I almost said truth.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine us asking our clients, we'll need your shoe size?
I'm going to need some measurements from your husband. Yeah. Could I speak to him for a moment, please? Yeah. Oh, anyway. So, number 3. Chimps have been found to engage in sacred ritual. Truth or tale? Chimps have been found to engage in sacred ritual. Truth or tale?
True.
Wow.
Evil
They're also
Evil say true
they're also one of the only 3 mammal species that kill for fun.
Mm.
The other one is a dolphin. Humans, chimpanzee, monkey type critters, and dolphins.
I'm going to go true also.
Okay. So, that is the truth. Chimps caught engaging in sacred ritual. Not all complex chimp behaviors are related to acquiring food. Studies over the last 60 years have revealed that chimps are capable of many complex feeding behaviors, but now researchers working for the Max Planck Institute's Pan-African program have found evidence that our primate cousins may engage in other human-like activities as well. The discovery was made after the team came across strange piles of rocks in several locations and set up cameras to film whatever the chimps were doing to create them. The footage showed the animals picking up stones and throwing them at trees while making loud, howling noises. Hell, I do that. Some of the trees were found to have large accumulations of rocks inside them. While the researchers noted that it was mostly the male chimps that did this, some of the footage also showed female and juvenile chimps attempting to participate on some occasions. So far, the exact purpose of this unusual behavior remains a mystery. However, some of the scientists have speculated that it could have some form of cultural or ritualistic significance. Chimpanzees accumulate stone throwing, and the subsequent aggregation of tools at particular trees shares two important features with human ritual practices, they wrote. The strong association to a particular location or site with a collection of artifacts over time, and ritualized behavior patterns. Whether the stone throwing and accumulation behaviors indicate that the chimpanzees possess their own primate spiritual beliefs, however, remain at least for the moment unclear.
Now that's interesting. I saw a show on Nova, Nature. Saw a show on Nature. I don't remember when it was, maybe about a year ago. And they talked about this. But their speculation was they only do this to trees that are diseased. And it's as if they're trying to kill the tree so that the disease of the tree does not transfer to other trees that they rely on for food. Now, see, that makes a hell of a lot more sense to me than thinking that they have a spiritual belief system.
Right. Right. That actually would make more sense. Just from the standpoint of they don't want the food to go away and they don't want the trees to get sick. And they can just get it out of the way and not have to worry about it. So
yeah, and we already know that animals are much more sensitive to things like that than humans are.
Right.
Yeah.
I just found it interesting. So don't dodge my question, America. Unfortunately, that is going to wrap it up for this episode of the Enigma Project. We're going to call this show Did. We is out of time. Join us next week when our topic is going to be 8 secret I again can't read. 8 secret societies in history you've probably never heard of. I would like to thank everyone that listened in the chat room. All the great questions. This was a great conversation. I'm glad that we got to discuss all this. And thank you guys in the chat room, everyone who listens live on the various and sundry places that they listen on. If you enjoyed the show, please put a review on whichever place you listen so that other people will start listening and we can get more listeners and maybe I can quit my day job one day. Just kidding. Anyway, but that's going to wrap it up. I hope everyone has a great Monday, a great rest of the week, and we will see you all next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Adios.